Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, The Beautiful Stitches. I love you all and I'm glad you're here with me. Today we are going to be cutting a front slit jacket with a flutter sleeve. And before I forget, if you're new to this channel, you're very much welcome. I love you. Please, before leaving, click on the subscribe button. Check beneath the screen, you will see the subscribe button. Click on it and touch the bell beside to always get notified anytime I upload my videos. All right, here is my fabric. I've placed it on fold. I'll be using two fabric, one to turn the front of my jacket where I'll be making the slit, and the other one is the main body of the jacket. Okay, so let's get started. All right, let's impute our measurements. So this is my baseline and the shoulder line. Every measurement starts from our baseline. So right now we'll be imputing our vertical measurements. All right, from my shoulder to my waist is 15 inches, just like as I'm marking it out. We mark out 15 inches, and from my waist, from my shoulder down to my hips is 24 inches. Okay, and the length of my jacket is 40 inches. Okay, so let's mark out 40 inches on our fabric. Okay, this is 40 inches. Then I'll be adding half-inch folding allowance. Remember, I'll be using the other fabric to turn it around, so I'll be adding half-inch for folding allowance. Okay, so let's draw it out into a straight line. Okay, all right, so I've drawn it out into a straight line. So what we do now is to impute our horizontal measurements. Okay, from our shoulder we impute our 3-inch standard neck measurement. Okay, that is it. And our shoulder is 16 divided by 2, we have 8. We'll mark out our 8 inches and come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. All right, connect to the 3-inch neck standard measurement, just like as I'm doing it. Okay, from our 1-inch shoulder slope, we measure out the armhole measurement. Our armhole is 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So this is our armhole, 8.5. We'll draw it out into a straight line, connect it to the center front, just like as I'm doing. Okay, and also connect it down to the shoulder line. All right. Okay, so what we do now is to locate our midpoint. To get our correct armhole measurement, locate our midpoint. We have 8.5 and our midpoint is 4.25. So we'll go in by 1 inch and connect from the 1-inch shoulder slope down to the midpoint that we've drafted out, and also place our curve correctly and connect down to the upper bust line. Okay, and that is for our front armhole. For our back armhole, we just place our curve and mark. So this is our front armhole and this is our back armhole. So let's impute our neck measurements. I'll be using the 3-inch standard measurement. Okay, for my back neckline, I'll be using 1.5 inches. Okay, and for the front neckline, I'll be using 5 inches because I don't want it to be too tight on my neck. 5 inches. Okay, so let's connect with our curve. All right, place your curve properly and connect. Okay, 1.5 inches for the back neckline, I'm connecting, and 5 inches for the front neckline. Connect it down to the 3 inches standard neck measurement. Okay, this is our front neckline and this is our back neckline. So what we do now is to impute our horizontal measurement. My bust is 38. 38 divided by 4, I have 9.5. Okay, 9.5. I'll be adding 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I added 2 inches there. Okay, my waist is 36. 36 divided by 4, I have 9 inches. Okay, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, my hips is 39. 39 divided by 4, I have 938. Okay, here is 938. All right, and I'll mark my 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for seam allowance. So I want it to be a straight jacket, so whatever I have on my hips line is what I'll also measure out on my hem line. So I have 1138. Okay, so let me also mark it out on my hem line. Okay, all right, so let's connect. Okay, connect with our ruler before cutting. Connect from the armhole down to the waist. From the waist we connect down to the hips, and from the hips, remember, it's not really a straight line, so we use our curve. Then from the hips, connect straight down to the hem of our jacket. All right, just like as I'm doing it, as you can see, our jacket has already taken its shape. So what I'll do now is to take up 1 inch on the shoulder line. Remember, we'll be adding our seam allowance on the shoulder line, so I'll be adding half inch seam allowance. Mark it out and draw it out into a straight line. Okay, so what we do now is to cut out our jacket. Okay, cut out the back armhole before the front armhole. Then for the neckline, you cut out the back neckline before the front neckline. So, and also the 1/2 inch shoulder line. So let's cut it out. Okay, all right, so also raise and cut the front armhole. Okay, just like as I've done. As you can see, our jacket is ready. So what I'll do is to place my other fabric and place the main fabric on it and cut out the front side. Just like as I've placed it, I'll cut out 3.5 inches. Okay, let's mark out the neck line. Then we'll be measuring out 3.5 inches from the shoulder line down to the hem of our jacket. Remember, you add half inch so that after joining you can cut off the excess. Okay, let's cut out our neckline before we start measuring out our 3.5 inches I'll be using to turn the front of our jacket. Okay, so what I'll do now is to remove the main fabric and mark out 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'll remove this other fabric and measure 3.5 inches down to the hem of the jacket, and then cut through from the hem down to the neck line. Okay, just as I'm doing it. And also I'll also cut the main bodice. I'll also cut it open too. Okay, from the hem down to the neckline. Yeah, just like as I'm doing. So this is our front bodice. Okay, as you can see, it's already out. So what I'll do is to place the other fabric on it. Okay, you place the fabric on the two front bodies. Okay, making sure it aligns properly. So after placing them, you pin them properly. Okay, make sure you place the correct one. For this fabric, it has a wrong side and a right side, so make sure you place it correctly. Okay, so what I'll do is to sew 1/2 inch from the neckline down to the hem of our gown, then turn it with 1/2 inch also. Okay, just like as I'm doing it, turn it with 1/2 inch. All right, so let's cut out the the facing for the back neckline. Okay, as you can see, the same way we cut out for the front is the same way we cut out for the back neckline. So we trace it out, leaving 1/2 inch at the top. At the end, we cut it off, then measure 3.5 inches. Okay, all right, let's cut it out. Okay, so I'll remove the main bodice, the main back bodice, and then measure 3.5 inches. Okay, let me hold it down with my office pin so that it doesn't move. All right, okay, so I'll measure 3.5 inches from the back neckline round. Okay, then I'll use it to turn, just the way I will turn the front slit and the front neckline with 1/2 inches. The same way I will also turn the back neckline. So trace it out after marking, and then we'll cut. Okay, let's cut it out. Remember, this is for the back neckline. Okay, all right, so let's place it and see how it looks like. You spread out your fabric and then place it on the neckline, just as I'm doing. As you can see, that's taking shape already. So let's cut out the one that we'll use for the hem of our jacket. Okay, as you can see, I've placed it directly on top of the fabric I'll use for hemming the jacket. Okay, so I'll measure out 3.5 inches, just the same way I measured for the neckline and for the front folding. Okay, let's measure out 3.5 inches. Okay, let me draw a straight line so that I can measure from there. I'll measure out 3.5 inches. Okay, remember we are cutting for both the front and the back panel. All right, so draw it out into a straight line, and also measure out another 3.5 inches for the front panel, just like as I'm doing it. Okay, after marking it out, we'll draw it out also into a straight line, and then we'll cut it out. Okay, let's cut it out. Let me mark out this side. All right, so let's cut it out. Okay, as I said earlier, we are using it for both the front panel and the back panel. So for the front panel, I'll be slashing it into two, the one I'll use for the front panel. So let's place it on our fabric and see how it looks like. Okay, as you can see, I also have 1/2 on the hemline for the two fabric, and then turn it. After pressing, I will now fold 1/2 inch, remaining 2.5 inch. Okay, so let's go over to the sleeve. Here is my sleeve. I've folded it into two. I'll be using a flutter. I'll be cutting a flutter sleeve. My sleeve have been placed on diagonal or on a triangular manner. Okay, so what I'll do now is to measure out the area that will accommodate my armhole. Remember, for a tutorial on how to cut a flutter sleeve, visit my channel and watch the full video on how to cut a flutter sleeve. Okay, so I'll measure the area that will accommodate my armhole, then draw it out into a straight line. I'll also add my cap's height. My cap's height is 4 on both sides, and then draw it out into a straight line too, locating the midpoint. Okay, sorry, I'll draw a straight line from the edge down to the open side of the armhole. Then I'll locate the midpoint. My midpoint is 5. Locate the midpoint, come up by ½ inch, and then make a curve down to the open sleeve, and also make another curve at the folded end of the fabric, as you can see, and then make another smaller curve beneath the first curve. Then I'll also turn my curve ruler and make another curve at the end. Okay, my sleeve is ready. Next thing is to measure out the length of my sleeve. My sleeve is 11.5, ½ inch for folding. Remember, I'll be folding it with the lining. So measure from the end of the sleeve down to the length of my full length of my sleeve, which is 21. I'll measure it round, just like as I'm doing. Measure it round, and then after I measure it round, I'll curve out the line that I have measured out. Remember, for full video on how to cut a flutter sleeve, visit my channel to watch the full video. So let's cut out our sleeve. Remember, you cut the front armhole, the back armhole, before you cut the front armhole. So let's cut it out. After cutting, the next thing is to cut out the front armhole. So we spread out our fabric and cut out the front armhole. All right, follow the line and cut it out. Okay, as you can see, our flutter sleeve has been formed already. This is our front armhole and this is our back armhole, as you can see. So right now we are cutting out the deep pocket that will be in front. So I'll be marking out 10 by 9.5 inches. Okay, so I'll draw it out into a straight line so that I can cut it out. All right, so we'll cut out our deep pocket that will be in front. Remember, the fabric is on fold, so I'll be separating it after cutting. Okay, for the front bodice. Okay, I finished cutting. Here is my fabric. Then I'll also cut out the other fabric that I'll use to place at the upper end of the pocket, just like as I'm doing it. As you can see, the way I fold the hem, that is how I will fold it also. Okay, this is the end of our tutorial. You can see our gown is already out, looking very beautiful. If this tutorial has been helpful to you, please give me a thumbs up, and don't fail to subscribe before leaving. Click on the subscribe bell, touch the notification bell to always get notified anytime I upload my videos. And for more exciting videos, visit my channel at youtube.com/thebeautifulstitches, and you will see exciting videos that you will learn from. All right, thanks for watching till the end.